In today's world of market volatility and uncertainty, your retirement plans need to be front and center. With ever-changing tax laws, healthcare worries, and an unpredictable stock market, don't overlook the vulnerability in your retirement planning. Protecting your family and estate will be difficult with shifting policies in Washington. It's more important than ever to keep an eye on retirement.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Eye on Retirement. I'm your host, Paul Gebhardt. My co-host today, Mr. Matt Goolsby of Market Advisory Group. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Paul.
Good to see you again.
Good to be back.
You know, I got to ask you right out of the gate. I love the show title, first of all, Eye on Retirement. I mean, what a fitting thing to say, because that's what we pretty much, all of us, we really need to be aware of, right? Keeping an eye on what's happening.
That's right. I mean, there are so many things that can happen so quickly that if you're not watching it or if someone's not helping you watch it, then it can spell catastrophe.
Mm-hmm. And the bottom line is we get one shot at this, and you don't want to have to start over with nothing or close to nothing, right, Matt?
You never want to hear oops when it comes time for retirement.
Boy, exactly. You never want to hear oops, that's for sure. So today we're going to jump into some really interesting topics today. The first one off the bat I love, because we're going to talk a little bit about do-it-yourself, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of folks in today's world with the amount of knowledge that you can find pretty much anywhere, Matt, on the do-it-yourself front.
That's right. All you got to do is just Google something, right? I mean, if you don't know it, you just look it up on the internet and you find it there, and then you can do it yourself, right?
Right. Can you, though? I mean, come on. What should they consider? What should the do-it-yourselfer really consider out there?
That is an excellent point. A lot of things can trap someone or get them caught off guard when it comes time for doing it themselves. Specifically investing. Oftentimes you'll hear people say, you know, the index, maybe you just go out there and invest in the index, you'll be fine because the index averages 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% a year, whatever, over different periods of time. Well, that can get you in trouble in a hurry, because if the market's down, yes, it might be averaging that over X amount of years, but if the market's down, that's not a good time to take money out of your account.
Exactly. So some things that folks should consider instead of doing that, having what? An alternative source of income or revenue, right?
Well, you can do it that way. You can do it in a number of different ways, but you want to have different pots of money that maybe have different purposes for different, maybe either income or maybe long-term growth, or any kind of different pot of money should have a goal with it. And then when you look at that, you want to say, what's the objective here? And you kind of reverse engineer it from there.
Yeah.
But when the market's down, you still need to maybe take money out of that account to supplement your Social Security and or pension. That can be the wrong time to take it out of the market, but expenses go on, right?
Yeah, is that a common mistake that you see folks doing? Or, you know, what is one of the most common things you see, mistake-wise, from a do-it-yourself point of view?
Probably just counting on the market to return X amount over a time period and thinking they'll be okay in retirement. The market can actually even go sideways. It's easy to make money when the market's going up, right?
Yes.
And there's even things to do when the market's going down.
Right.
Different strategies to use and employ. But what if the market goes sideways? Are you really counting on a reasonable rate of return to make it through retirement, maybe even to keep up with inflation? So there can be a lot of mistakes that you know, through no fault of their own that they make, that can catch them off guard, but can have serious, long-lasting ramifications in a negative way on their portfolio.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if we could change gears a little bit, get into a little bit on the tax side. Let's talk about the taxes.
Absolutely.
I mean, where are we going to be? I mean, with the amount of bailouts that we've seen, man, I mean, is there any way of knowing? I mean, I guess we can speculate with some level of certainty that taxes probably will go up, but how can we possibly know?
No, I think you're absolutely right. You can go to usdebtclock.org. It's a nonpartisan, independent, nonprofit website that forecasts that the national debt in just 4 years will be almost $50 trillion with no additional spending increases. So you have to look at it and say, hey, when we've saved for retirement and exclusively in IRAs, 401ks, accounts that have never had the taxes paid on them, what kind of disaster could that spell if they increase taxes in the future? And most people are not factoring that in, and I can tell you from a do-it-yourselfer standpoint, a lot of these do-it-yourselfers won't factor in the tax implications or ramifications on their investments or their nest egg. And again, that's going to spell disaster. And most people don't realize what they owe in taxes until it comes time to file their taxes, and that's too late.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting, a lot of that's probably around behavioral situations, right? I mean, we get kind of programmed along the way, don't we, Matt? I mean, as we're earning, we're getting that wage, they're taking out taxes, and we kind of get in that habit of just preparing at the end of the year, right? Or on April 15th, right?
Right, but oftentimes after the close of the calendar year, there's not a lot you can do to lower your tax liability. That's why we work with the team we have with all those tax professionals in-house and estate planning professionals in-house, along with the investment advisors, that allow us to get a better cohesive plan that works for the individual, so there's less surprises and they know what they're going to have to be paying in taxes going forward, because that puts them in the driver's seat. Very hard, like our lead CPA, Joshua Sikora, says, to put the tax genie back in the bottle.
Right.
Once you've done something, it's oftentimes cost you money and you can't really undo it.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so very true. So I wanted to ask you, in consideration to the tax bills that may be coming, I mean, the odds of the wealthy folks that are paying those taxes are probably not really that likely because they have strategies and plans, right?
Right. We've talked about this before in previous shows, that what do the wealthy and the super successful in this country do?
Right.
They get their armies of accountants, attorneys, CPAs, they get together and they make sure they're paying the least amount of taxes possible. But I challenge you guys, why are we not all doing that? Why are we not taking advantage of these professionals? Oftentimes these professionals, many people have them in their lives, but they're not collaborating together to make a plan that works for that person in a cohesive way.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I love the fact that you bring that up, because most successful people learn from other successful people. And that's what we're kind of talking about. And if we see when someone, doesn't seem to pay the amount of taxes we are paying, one of the good things to do is try to figure out what the process is and how they're taking advantage of that. And it's like you said, they have an army, they have a team behind the scenes working for them in every aspect. And you know what's interesting about that, Matt? I think the communication level, though, that's a big part I think people miss, because you can have your tax person here, your estate person here, and just one simple idea or concept in someone's portfolio that doesn't get shared or communicated properly could cause a problem. Right?
That's totally true. I mean, I think we've talked about this story before. We had a gentleman we met with that he had these different professionals, and he'd worked with the same investment advisor for well over 10 years. And he really didn't understand why the investment advisor was taking the money from the certain pot of money that he was.
Yeah.
And he wasn't maximizing his tax savings in that way. So if you guys need help with that, feel free to reach out to us at 844-352-8707. Have a meeting with our team, our tax people, our estate planning people, and our investment advisors to make sure that you're maximizing everything you can do for your situation.
Yeah, and so whether you're a do-it-yourselfer or not, you'll find incredible, valuable information by getting to know and having a team to work with you, because that's what we're talking about, a strategy, a plan. And taking action is the first part of that plan. Again, it's a complimentary review, right, Matt?
That's right. And if you put up to all the billable time that the attorney, the tax professionals, and the investment advisor, it's over $1,000 of value. But we want to do that just to meet people and see if we can help them with their plan.
That's pretty incredible. So the people of Wichita out there, that's an investment in you and your future, your family's future, the dreams that you have. Will you invest in you? That's the question. A phone call investment, 844-352-8707. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back after these short messages.
When people work with Market Advisor Group, they get a feel of sense of family. There's a lot of relationships that are made and going on in this conference room, and we really take a lot of pride in that and a lot of satisfaction in that.
Every client we work with, we make a custom-made plan to fit them and help reach their goals in life. And then another thing that makes us unique is we want to meet quarterly with our clients and have reviews.
Market Advisory Group, we have a process, and the process we take people through is first to understand what they have, understand who they are, and then we put together an income plan for them and show them how they can look forward to retirement and not look, though retirement is going to be a stressful time. It needs to be a stress-free time.
A few unique features of working with Market Advisor Group is holistic in-house financial consultants. We've got an in-house CPA, Joshua, an in-house estate planning attorney, Gerald, an in-house Medicare advisor, Bill. We rely on all of those professionals for, again, additional service within our consultative process, making sure that we've got the advice and the expertise behind the recommendations that we make.
You know, as an advisor, I'm not there to sell them one way or the other. I'm there to educate them, to let them know what their choices are. Then I try to help them make the right choice where they can save money and feel confident in their decision.
Absolutely the best part of my job is getting a stack of paperwork from somebody and they don't know what to do, and then I can turn around and give them back a tax return, but also to be able to explain what they can do next year that will give them a better answer than what they had this year.
When we've got clients that are calling and they need to help out a child or need to help out a grandchild or need to help themselves out and they're in a situation they didn't expect to be in, I really relish the opportunity to help them through that, help them make the educated decisions in somewhat stressful situations, because a lot of folks don't have that type of counsel.
We meet with so many people one-on-one in this office that don't ever end up becoming a customer or doing business with us, and that's okay. But when they leave our office, we know that we've helped them either get some answers to some of the questions they had or get some clarity on maybe their own path.
But one of the things that we hear all the time is, I wish I would have met you guys 10 years ago, because how much further could I be down the road? Well, Johnny Appleseed said, when's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago. When's the second best time? Today. And so if we can help people today going forward, that just brings an incredible amount of comfort and excitement for us to come to work every day.
Welcome back to Eye on Retirement, everyone. I'm your host, Paul Gebhard, with my co-host today, Matt Goolsby of Market Advisory Group in Wichita. Listen, incredible information talking to the do-it-yourselfer, because there's a lot of us doing that these days, and at least somewhat we want to have our hands on what we're doing, right? But it's great to have a partner and knowing that there's somebody we can bounce ideas off and share objective points of view.
And that's what we want to do with that. We want to make sure it's kind of a peace of mind thing, because as tax laws are changing, as state laws are changing, all the different changes that we can have in the economy. I was speaking with a gentleman just this morning about his income plan and all the things that we're working towards for his goals. He said he was a do-it-yourselfer before he met us, and he said it gives him so much more peace of mind to have that team as far as all those different components, because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly. It's kind of like having your own little board of directors, right? Where you got an idea, you've been doing something, and it seems right, but there's a couple of pieces maybe you're missing, or maybe you think you're missing, and you just got to bounce it off other people with expertise, right?
And oftentimes, people that miss things, they don't know about it until it's cost them a lot of money.
Isn't that the truth? That's typically how we learn some of the toughest lessons, right, Matt?
That's right. Knowledge is cheap, experience is expensive.
Yeah, absolutely the truth. There's no doubt about it. All right, so I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned a little bit about income planning. Let's talk about that, right? Vacation planning or income planning of our retirement. What are some of the ideas and things that you see folks do, or some things you'd like them to be aware of as they start thinking about this really important segment of retirement?
That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Most people will spend more time planning their vacation than they will planning their retirement.
So true.
Let's face it, what's retirement? It's permanent vacation. Yeah. Right?
Vacation of your life.
That's right. But oftentimes, I understand it's kind of an ominous or scary thing that they don't want to talk about, and so they kind of just keep putting it off. But procrastination is not your friend when it comes to planning.
No, not at all. I mean, and then it's interesting you're talking about that, procrastination. We come back to this a lot, and I think we need to hit that point hard, because what is the value of time when you've lost it?
Yeah, you can make more money, but you can't make more time.
Right, exactly. And so that's what we're talking about here. So I wanted to get into some of that with you. And what are some ideas or some general things that you like people to think about when they start doing that type of vacation of a lifetime plan?
Well, oftentimes you'll hear in the investment world, asset allocation. That means you might have some assets in bonds, kind of an element of safety there, which that's a whole nother segment in itself.
Right.
But then you have equities too. I mean, they're the ones that's going to help you keep up with inflation, give you a good rate of return. But that income, that asset allocation, oftentimes it's 60-40. What you'll hear that a lot, and again, that's a whole nother segment. But when you look at income allocation, that's another thing you have to do. And we talked about that in the previous segment about how if the market's down, it's not the best time to take money out of there. You can have different pots of money, though, with different objectives to help you with that. But then a big thing, and you've touched on this again in the earlier segment, is taxes. Most people don't understand how the taxation on Social Security works, how the income tax system works overall, and how capital gains rates play into there. And then also, we've talked about it in previous shows, how much you might pay for your Medicare is contingent on what your income was from a couple of years ago. All those different things often do not play well with one another. And if we don't have a tax professional in the room helping us with the income plan, people are missing out on something and oftentimes costing them money.
Yeah. Good point. Wonderful point. Can we talk a little bit about the team? Because we haven't said a lot about the family over at Market Advisory Group.
Sure.
But we talked briefly before the show
Yeah.
Matt, and we talked about family, right?
That's right.
And I asked
That's
you
right.
about your kids, and you said, well, I don't have any kids personally, but I have 30 kids in my office, right? Which I think that's fantastic that you have a family, and that's how you view the people in your office. And how important is that for
it's
people
very
who meet
important.
with you?
Very important because we're very relationship driven.
Yeah.
The people that we help, we want to make sure we're with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And that relationship's important there because their goals become our goals and we work for that together. But the team we have at Market Advisor Group is great. I mean, we have our estate planning division, Gerald Eidelman, went to Georgetown University,
Yeah.
great guy. He actually immigrated to this country when he was 16 from Argentina.
Really?
Yeah, he's got a great story.
Okay.
Have to have him on sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then Joshua Sikor, he's our lead CPA that runs Market Tax Services. But we have a team there, CPAs and enrolled agents. There's about 15 that make up Market Tax Services just on its own.
Really, 15 people in the tax side. Wow.
Yeah. The tax department has to be very big because of all the things that we help people do there.
Yeah.
So then also we have our Medicare division. So Medicare's, insurance for when you turn 65.
Yeah.
And all that has its own rules around it. And there's two kinds of Medicare. There's traditional Medicare where you go out and get a supplement. And then there's Medicare Advantage that helps you, pick up some other maybe benefits there as well. But oftentimes there's advisors out there that only push one or the other.
Isn't that true?
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, you're right.
They don't have a trusted team that they can go to and talk about that and walk through the pros and cons of each system for them. Bill and Corey are a great team there at Market Medicare Advisors, and they help people with that as well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, our advisory group, our lead advisors with myself, my father, Danny, Larry Clefcorn, and then Jonathan McCoy. Great team there that make up Market Advisor Group and the family companies there.
So in a way, basically the person who's out there looking at this like, wow, this is the business of my retirement. Here I am, the CEO. They're able to hire your entire team.
That's right. Or just meet with us for a consultation. And
Yeah.
we're not going to charge them for that. We're going to make sure it's complimentary, just kind of a one-on-one to see if maybe they're a good fit for us and vice versa, if we're a good fit for them.
Yeah.
And we know that we're not a fit for everyone, and that's okay.
Sure.
But we do enjoy meeting people and maybe having a cup of coffee in our conference room, just having that one-on-one conversation with them, getting to know their goals and what their desires are
Yeah.
for their retirement.
Yeah. What are some of those fits? You talked about that. Are we talking about like a certain amount of funds to be able to invest? Is that what we're talking about on a fit side?
I've always said I'll help anyone that wants help and anyone that can follow our processes. I think our smallest client has $5,000 with us.
Really?
And our maximum one has about 15. So, we'll work with everything in the middle just to make sure if they're willing and they need the help, we of course want to help them. And we have people that come into our Social Security classes all the time that just have questions around Social Security. We have that one-on-one with them, and maybe it doesn't go any further, and that's okay. But they get help in the answers to the questions they might have.
I think that's phenomenal. I wonder if you kind of understand how unique that is. There's not a lot of advisors out there, a lot of planners that are working with folks in a wider range of nest egg. That's pretty unique.
Well, I appreciate that. We've always looked at it as an approach of we want to treat people the way we want to be treated. And so if we've ever needed help, of course, at any point in our lives, we hope that there's someone there that we can reach out to, and we want to be that resource that we can help out with their situation as well.
I love that. I love that. We're going to take a short break here in a second, but I wonder if you would remind the good people out there in the Wichita area what your team is offering.
Absolutely. If you guys need help or just want to have a conversation with what's going on in your situation with our team, our estate planning team, our tax advising team, our Medicare team, and also our financial advisor team, we'd love to have that one-on-one conversation with you, complimentary. Call us at 844-352-8707. We'd love to meet with you one-on-one there in our office.
Love it. And again, that's a complimentary consultation. You've heard Matt mention before that there's a lot that goes into that because there's a lot of resources invested in you because you're worth it. This is the retirement of your life, the vacation of a lifetime. Start the plan. If you have a plan, get a second opinion, make sure it's reviewed on a regular basis. This is an opportunity for you to take advantage of that. 844-352-8707. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these short messages.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. By running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back, everybody, to Eye on Retirement. I'm your host, Paul Gebhardt, with my co-host today, Matt Goolsby of Market Advisory Group in Wichita, Kansas. And, listen, we're talking all things related to whether it's do-it-yourself in your retirement, whether you're getting ideas on planning a retirement of a lifetime. But, one of the things, Matt, I think I'd love to really direct is talking about Roth IRAs. Really trying to understand the different elements of it, because a lot of folks out there, like myself, didn't realize maybe they could possibly be eligible for a Roth later on in life when you're told if you make X amount of dollars, right?
Right.
You can't contribute to that.
Yeah.
So what is really the differences, and what do we need to know between contributions and conversions?
That's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. The Roth is somewhat of a newer retirement account. It's been around since, I think, 1997. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes people didn't go that direction because when they were contributing to retirement accounts, they wanted the tax deduction, whether it was with the 401k and hopefully they got some free money there with the employer match, or maybe an IRA when it came time for filing their taxes. The CPA said, if you just contribute this couple $1,000s over here, you won't owe anything and you'll help yourself save for retirement. But the general consensus is that when you're working, you're in a higher tax bracket, right? So you need that tax deduction then, and when you're retired, you'll be in a lower tax bracket. But as we just mentioned in a previous segment, I doubt taxes are probably ever going down. In fact, they have to go up with all the money they've printed, all the money they want to continue to spend. Roths are a different kind of retirement account where any growth that you take out of there after it's been there for 5 years and you're over the age of 59 and a half, you don't pay income taxes on the withdrawal. You don't pay it doesn't impact the taxation on your Social Security. It doesn't cost you more for your Medicare premiums. You're not forced to take a withdrawal out at a certain age, whether that being 70 and a half or 72. And it doesn't get taxed when it gets passed on to your kids or whoever you want to leave it to. But financial advisors have been, I guess I don't want to be as aggressive as call them lazy, but I guess I just did. Maybe they're just incapable of doing that because they didn't have the tax team to execute properly a Roth conversion. So I've been kind of mentioning prior there, that's Roth contributions, new money in, which does have some income limits to you. If you're making too much money, you can't do it.
Right.
You can do what's called a backdoor Roth conversion, where you contribute to an IRA, you pay the taxes on it, then it's a Roth. But conversions confuse people because they think, well, I'm not working anymore, I can't contribute, or maybe I'm nearing retirement, I don't want to look at new options.
Right.
I really would encourage people to take a look at that because a Roth is such a powerful tool to have to help control taxes in retirement.
Okay, so give me an idea on that. When you say controlling taxes in retirement, what do you mean?
So when you have different pots of money, say you have some money in a Roth that you can start taking money out of and an IRA, you can start blending those withdrawals along with your Social Security and or pension.
Okay.
And it helps you control tax brackets where you're in. So, or maybe control your IRMA for, again, the income-related monthly adjustment amount that impacts your Medicare premiums. We've talked about that on a previous show.
Yeah.
But when you can have those different pots of money, you can control your income stream and you can pull levers and work with the tax team to say, well, if we have a large expense, let's keep you out of the 22% tax bracket or the 24% tax bracket, and let's take some of that from your Roth. Or maybe if you have, if we can control your taxation on your Social Security and not make it 85% counted as taxable income, then we can help it that way as well. But I'll tell you, Paul, my job as a financial advisor to execute a Roth conversion would be darn near impossible if I didn't have Joshua Sikora and my team at Market Tax Services.
Yeah.
Because when we do a Roth conversion, you have to pay the taxes on it. And Do you want to know exactly what it's going to cost you before you do it?
I'd like to know exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, when people are doing Roth conversions, they normally estimate, and they might not estimate correctly.
Yeah.
And then they come time to file their taxes next year, they might find they have a balance due and maybe even a penalty for some underpayment there. And you don't want to do that.
Yeah. It's interesting you said that. Estimations and the IRS, they kind of don't go well together, especially from your point of view.
That's right.
They may be able to get away with that, but you may not. So to your point, you're absolutely right. You want to be precise in the decisions you make when it comes to these tax decisions and the consequences thereof, right?
That's right. And Joshua and his team are just excellent. And Joshua will always talk about how the fact that a CPA could estimate what to do on a Roth conversion, but he can't really tell the person that he's helping where to take it from and how to invest it and how to allocate it. But a financial advisor, they can't really tell you how much in taxes to pay, but they might be able to tell you where to take it from. Roth conversions are very hard to execute when you have those two professionals not working together.
Really? So it's very important that that relationship is in great communication.
That's right.
Right? And what better communication to be under one roof?
That's right. And that's what we do with our job there and helping the people we help. Every fourth quarter of the year, we're looking at Roth conversions for the people we help to say, how much can we take out this year, pay a little bit of the taxes right now because taxes will never be this low again, and how can we prepare you to be better prepared for have those multiple pots of income in retirement and pay a little bit of the taxes today to have a tax-free pot of money tomorrow.
Let me ask you a little bit about that, if I could, a question. Is that something that you do on a lump sum basis, Matt, or is that something that you maybe schedule over a period of years to prepay that? Is there advantages or disadvantages? I mean, how does that work?
It probably would depend on everyone's situation. You know, everyone's unique. So I don't want to give a broad statement there, but oftentimes we'll do lump sum every year, a little bit every year.
Okay.
But it is a longer term plan, but it's kind of like the 15-day forecast. Tomorrow's accurate, pretty close,
Gotcha.
but 15 days out, you know, we don't know what's going to happen with the tax code. So we're looking at it on an annual basis every year to make sure we're staying up to date with the tax changes. Last year, you know, they didn't tax a certain portion of your unemployment insurance, so that came into play. There's going to be changes every year with the tax code, and that's, again, why we work with the tax professionals we do.
That's a good point. I'm glad you shared that because that brought the point home, right? To understand that that's why you want to have that stuff in-house so that you can be on top of this, right?
Yeah, and people need to take advantage of working with that team because it's going to save them money.
Absolutely right. That's what we're talking about. More money in your pocket. What's the point to it? Not how much you had, but how much you have.
That's right.
Right at the point that you actually want to go spend it. That's what we're talking about. All right. We're coming up to the end of the show. Is there any other ideas or things you want to share with folks that they want to take away?
I guess I just want to reach out to everyone and let you guys know that there's a team available that works together in your hometown. Take advantage of that. It's 844-352-8707. We'd love to have a complimentary one-on-one discussion with you with our team. See if there's things that are in your retirement plan, or maybe you don't have a retirement plan, or maybe just concerns you have in retirement overall. We'd love to have that conversation with you and get to know you better and see if we can maybe create some solutions for you.
Good stuff. 844-352-8707. Again, that's a completely complimentary review. We want to thank you so much for being with us today. Be well and enjoy your retirement.